Guys, brilliant lesson for you today. 3 simple ways to hit your driver better, and I've brought an experienced senior golf coach with us, Mr. Adrian Fryer, also known as Dad to me. Thank you for coming down.
You're welcome.
So 3 things that all golfers can do to hit the big stick better. Obviously you've seen a lot of golf swings in your time, hoping that these 3 things are going to cure everyone's problems.
Well,
not a lot of pressure there for you.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah, so tip number 1, what would that be for hitting more consistent drives?
Well, I think, you know, if you looked at amateur golfers, if they're going to hit poor drives, there's a big amount of them that come down too steep.
Yeah.
You know, the angle of attack on the golf ball, it gets down too much.
Yeah.
That creates a glancing blow.
Yes.
Obviously, that creates a power leak, so they don't hit it as far as they potentially could.
A lot of curvature, a lot of lost distance.
A lot of lost distance, a lot of extra spin, poor strike on the club face.
Yeah.
You know, in an effort to create power,
Yeah,
you know, they actually end up losing power. So, you know, the very thing they're trying to achieve, they actually disintegrates. You
Okay,
know.
So how are we going to fix that angle of attack problem then? What does that look like to us?
We definitely, we know, obviously with the driver, we need to hit it with a sweeping blow. You know, there's a lot of, obviously, launch monitor data that says, you know, the big hitters and the top hitters hit up on it.
Yeah.
Tour average is about, what, 1.3 down.
Okay.
But certainly you need to be able to get the club head coming into the golf ball, sweeping and not trapping it. You know, picture it a bit like an aeroplane landing on a runway.
Yeah, don't want the nose bombing in.
Exactly. I always say to golfers as a little tip, I said, listen, if you had 1 tee left in the world and you had to play 18 holes with it and you don't want to break it, what are you going to do? Well, you certainly aren't going to bury it into the floor. You're going to try and pick that golf ball off the tee.
Okay.
So if you are trying to preserve your favourite tee and make it last 18 holes, you really got to try and pick that off.
Okay, so what would if you demonstrated what a bad swing or what a
so a common error would be from the top of the swing, people are trying to kill it and knock the hell out of it, so the body will get too aggressive, they may get a bit ahead of it, they'll certainly be pulling very hard with the body, and this tends to make the shoulders rotate.
That bit there.
It affects the club. We you know, golf, we've all got a responsibility to swing the club in the correct shape arc and let the ball get in the way of that.
Yeah.
So if that club's coming down too steep, it's just going to bury it.
Yeah.
So it needs to come in shallower.
Okay, and have you got a drill for that?
Exactly. A couple of things you can do. You could use an alignment cane or just turn your club upside down.
Yeah.
And if I take my grip and then I put the club opposite my right toe here or my trail foot and drag it, this is the feeling I want.
More towards me.
Exactly. I'm dragging it from the inside, so I'm swinging out to my right as a right-handed player.
Yeah.
And getting the feel of dragging it here. See how my right shoulder, I've got some side bend in my body?
Yeah.
I'm feeling it go low, and then I'll extend up.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite to coming down steep this way and round low here.
Yes.
So this would be coming from high to low.
Yeah.
Here, I'm coming from low to high.
It's a really simple thing, and even if you flip your club head
over
so if
I flip my club head the other way now and swing down, I'm going to go from low to high.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the feeling.
You can pick that up on the microphone there, that nice little brushing sound there, and just even I think for a practice routine for an amateur, it'd just be a completely different sensation that they're probably used to.
It is. It seems a little bit extreme, like most things in golf. Sometimes you've got to feel really extreme to actually then create a little change in the actual golf swing.
Yeah.
But what we're doing here is we're getting the feeling of the club travelling along the floor much shallower.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, ascending here rather than descending too much. So as you say, this noise, you might hear this on the tee quite often, which wouldn't be very productive if you're hitting a driver, if you're hearing this hitting down.
Yeah, if you want to hear more of a sweep.
You want to hear more of a sweep
almost.
or nothing, or just clip the tee peg gently.
Yeah.
So this is getting me to tilt my body, get my tilts right. It's getting my hips working correctly. I'm dragging the club, which then is going to allow me to release it through the ball, which we'll talk about in the next tip.
Okay, nice. So let's see one pipped off there, and what we're going to look for is to see if your tee stays in place after this shot. So
that is the test.
Sweeping motion.
Okay, let's give it a go.
A little bit down the right side, but the great thing here, and if we come in close, what we can see, that tee you've done exactly as you said on the tee there, not a broken tee, and you can carry on into your next tip.
Exactly, I saved myself a few quid as well.
Yeah. So tip number 2 then, we've got a feeling of getting a little bit shallower and sweeping now. What would you move on to then? If they've started to master that, the golfer, what are we looking for in tip number 2?
Well, it's important, obviously, with all golf shots. We've talked about the kind of angle of attack and the path there.
Yeah.
But of course, you've got a responsibility to square the club face.
Okay.
And also unload all the leverage.
Yeah.
Create some speed here.
Yeah.
You know, so if you want to hit it further,
Yes.
we know you've got to create club head speed.
Yeah.
And of course, what's happened in golf with Bryson and people kind of going at it violently,
Yeah.
is that they're tending to overuse the body. It might look a bit ragged and a bit brutal.
Yeah.
But you must understand that Bryson and these guys were elite golfers long before they tried to try and smash it. So they'd already educated their hands, they'd already got speed in their release.
And understood how to swing the golf
How to
club.
swing it. And you use a key word there, swing the club.
Yeah.
You know, this thing, you know, there's an old saying, swing the force, don't force the swing. This thing is packed with power.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to get some speed in the club head.
Lovely.
So as I've done there, you could hear the noise. Most club golfers, if they stood here, if I went like this, stiff, you're not going to get
Doesn't
any
look
speed.
powerful at all.
Yeah. If I do this, you can hear some speed. Yes, my body's working.
Yeah.
It's kind of self-organising, if you like, but I'm creating some angles going back. I'm storing some angles here in my wrist, and then I'm whipping the club through.
Yeah.
So make no mistake about it, most amateur golfers, certainly that I coach, are often too brutal with their body motion and not a lot of energy getting in the club head.
Yes.
They need to actually focus more on swinging the club head. You know, one thing in coaching and lessons I often say to people, quite kind of laughingly, I say, have you ever thought about hitting it with the club head? Because obviously they've seen a lot of instruction and what have you, and all of a sudden this becomes a little bit lost.
Yeah, it doesn't look very synchronized or like fluent as a motion, looks sort of brutal.
Yeah, and it's timing, and you know, I would advise most folk to try and copy, say, Louis Oosthuizen or that sort of rhythm, or Ernie Els, or that sort of style of player. There would be more.
Like the club swishes through.
Yeah, because they're much more likely then to find the centre of the sweet spot.
Okay.
You know, we want club head speed squarely applied on the correct path, but it has to be a centred strike.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in the next tip. But to create that speed, as I say, your grip pressure is critical.
Yeah.
Your grip quality has got to be right, of course. You need a grip that's correct, that's going to allow you to square the club face. But my grip pressure here is quite light, allowing my levers to swing.
Yeah.
And remember, if people come down steep, like we said before, then you'll see this through the golf ball. They'll be stiff.
Yeah.
There'll be no what we call radial acceleration. Radial acceleration is just this club rotating around the hinge of my wrist.
Okay.
One little tip, you know, again, if a golfer holds their lead arm out, holds the club near the graphite or the steel, and just swings under their arm, creates an angle here, and then hinges. What I'm doing here, I'm quietening down my body, so I'm not pulling too fast with my upper body.
Yeah.
Again, I'm creating some tilts with my body, and then I'm releasing the club.
Yeah,
notice how it rehinges here.
Yeah.
Now, if you videoed 1,000 amateur golfers, you'd often see this through the golf ball.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see the club rehinge.
Yeah.
So listen to the noise here now. You can hear that speed just
speed.
by this motion of just letting it rehinge, thumbing a lift.
So I like that, definitely a lighter grip pressure. Maybe picture your Louis Oosthuizen, a smoother sort of golf swing, even though it's probably actually going to be quicker, and that should be another avenue to more consistency. Let's see you pip this one away. Let's see if we can keep that tip number 1 going.
Here we
nice
go.
Shallow brush, still expecting the same T-peg from the to be here at the end of the video.
Okay.
We're going to release it, create the speed. That's a beautiful drive. Beautiful drive.
See, still in.
Still in. Fairway found. Effortless golf swing there. That takes us on to tip number 3, and what would that be? What do more golfers need to do?
Again, more golfers need to ideally find the sweet spot. You know,
What's that?
That's the little nice bit in the middle of the club face where that improves the smash factor, it improves the efficiency of the blow.
Okay.
You know, I know it's rare for you to find.
I love the toe and the heel.
Exactly, yeah. And don't wear them out. But obviously trying to hit it out of the middle and getting that sweet, that lovely feel, you know, when you've hit it well, it's key, and it's underrated.
Yeah.
And again, those things we spoke about before, about getting the correct path, about squaring the club face, they're all to improve a centred strike on the club face. If you're glancing it Yeah. Again, you're not going to get the full pressure, the full ball speed.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit it as far.
A Tour Pro's driver, you would generally see a lot of wear around one certain spot, wouldn't you? And in their irons and things like that, we're going to see that the wear, middle out.
Yeah, look at a top player's irons, as you say, or driver, but particularly, you know, I think people don't appreciate how good or how repetitively accurate their swing paths are.
Yeah.
That they're finding the sweet spot most of the time. Of course, they hit the odd bottom one,
perfect every single one.
But they are really good at that.
Okay.
Now, again, the more violently you swing and the more erratic your path becomes, the chances of that returning or tracing the same path each time and finding the centre of the face are limited or less likely to happen.
Okay, so what can the golfer do then to find this sweet spot?
Well, as you know, there's foot spray and tape and so on, but one little simple thing I do, just with a piece of chalk, if I just draw literally a vertical line or just on the markings on the golf ball, just scrape it here. Now, just obviously place that vertically on line.
So it's going to be pointing from here
down
back down the middle of your fairway,
square
intended target.
Square to my intended target there.
Okay.
It's nice and vertical. And this will give you an indication of how well you're hitting it. Also, a little bit of the tilt on it can tell you the lie angle of the club at impact if you've come in a little bit too steep and so on.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it'd be lovely to hit every one of them out of the middle every time. But we know, certainly, when I look at most of my coaching and a big percentage of people are coming over and they're hitting it right out the heel of the club, as I said, they're getting steep. And modern technology obviously helps them.
Yes.
There's no doubt about that. With the modern driver, it's going to improve their ball flight. But there still is no substitute for hitting it out of the middle or the top half. Right of the face.
Even like it's not so much like a tip to find the middle but I think
it's monitoring
it. A lot of amateurs, you know, when I've given lessons and like you say yourself there, aren't aware of where it is, and also will probably go off looking for the cool fix as well. How do I shallow the golf club? How do I do this? As well, have you thought about where you're actually hitting the golf ball on the club face recently? Oh no, I don't do that.
Definitely, and if you think of golfers of yesteryear, you know, you think of Tiger and Faldo and Nicklaus and all the great players, long before all this technology was available to them. How did they do that? Well, the secret's in the dirt, you know, in Hogan or whatever. You know, you hit golf balls. You look at your divots.
Figure it out.
You look at your divots, you look at your ball flight, you look at the strike, and you do figure out. It's easy to say, well, just hit it out of the middle then. Well, we're all trying to do that. But obviously all these factors culminate in trying to hit it out of the middle. But don't forget that you're trying to, that is one of the goals. So as Nicklaus said, you know, years ago, obviously one of the biggest hitters of his era, what do you want to do if you want to hit it further? Of course you hit it hard, but he said, I try to hit it better. So he worked on the quality of his strike. Okay
then, right, so we've got shallowing it out a little bit, feeling that brush. We've got nice grip pressure and releasing it at the right time, feeling the club head swing. Now we're going to see, hopefully, that leads to a nice centred strike from you.
Exactly.
Let's top it off in style, sir. It sounded good, it looks good. Oh, there's a little glint here. Look, come in close. Come and look at this. It's crowning glory, folks.
I must have just got lucky.
Yeah, we drew that one on earlier.
Exactly.
So that is 3 simple tips that you can do to help you get more consistent with your driver. Make sure you go through those. Make sure that you are practicing those as well. More importantly, take your time on them. Go through them stage by stage, and hopefully you should see that you get nice consistent drives there, just like Adrian. And if you don't, I'll put his number down below. Give him a call, give him some abuse. Make sure you check him out at Solid Golf as well for more great instructional tips. Guys, thanks for watching the lesson. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Totally free to do. We want you to get better at the game. You know, do it by getting your free lessons here with us on the channel, and I'll see you in your next lesson.